our next presentation, and this presentation is actually one that I recorded a little bit earlier today. So this is a tour of two tools that you might find interesting. Good evening. Tonight, I'd like to give you a quick tour of two tools that you might find useful. The first one is called TOBI, and the second one is called CCAST. And don't worry about those acronyms, they'll make sense in just a moment. So TOBI stands for Tools for the Beef Industry. And this is a decision support tool shed that was put together by the Sustainable Southwest Beef Project's extension team. It searches over 550 decision support tools related to the beef industry, collected from around the web. You can filter by platform, by topic, and by user type. And there are two ways to access it. You can access it either through the direct link, which we'll check out in just a moment, or you can visit the Sustainable Southwest Beef Project's homepage and look under the resources and then the tools tab. And let me just say, I will be dropping all of these links in the chat box as well for your reference. So let's go check out TOBI. So when you land on the TOBI page, all the tools that are listed in the database are all here in alphabetical order. As you can see, there's 27 pages of them. That's a lot to sift through. So you can filter by some various characteristics here. So you can filter by platform. If you're looking for something that's a spreadsheet that you can just plug your own numbers into, you might click that. Let's say you're looking for a smartphone app, so you click that one. And then you can see that there's 137 tools that match that description. Maybe you want to narrow it down a little bit more. So maybe you're looking for something that could help you with a financial decision. And now there's only 33 to look through. And if you wanted to expand that to finance or livestock management, you would just click both of those filters and it would return tools that fall into one or the other, possibly both of those categories. And then last, you filter by audience. And in this case, we'll click producers. And then you just go look down. Again, they're listed in alphabetical order. Just scroll through until you see one that maybe looks interesting. And let's say you're interested in this one, you would click on the title and you get a little bit more information about the tool. And if you want to check out the distributor's website, then that link is also provided in the toolshed. When you're done, you just close that and then keep on scrolling. So that, in a nutshell, is TOBI. I do have a few disclaimers for TOBI. The purpose of the toolshed is to make it easier to search and compare tools from across the web published by a variety of different developers. All tools in the database are as they are from their developer or distributor. We are not making any warranty, recommendation, or endorsement of any of these tools. That is not the purpose of this toolshed. We're not trying to recommend that you use one tool over another. This is just to eliminate the time that you might spend on a general search engine search looking for tools. I mean, 550 tools from across the web is a lot to sort through. And so we are hoping to maybe save you some time, make it easier for you to compare side by side these different tools and decide if there's one in there that fits your needs. As I mentioned, all the tools listed are third party. The Sustainable Southwest Beef Project was not involved in the development, testing, or research associated with any of the tools in the database. And if you're having a problem or a question or concern with a specific tool, you would need to contact that tool's distributor. The second tool that I want to talk about today is the Collaborative Conservation and Adaptation Strategy Toolbox, also called CCAST. CCAST is a website that hosts a collection of conservation or natural resources management case studies. Some of them revolve around things like drought and grazing management. This one, for example, is heritage genetics to increase cattle resilience during drought. So this was a producer who is actually working with the Sustainable Southwest Beef Project on some of our heritage genetics cattle research. But the issues that were addressed here were that the drought conditions in the Southwest create challenges for ranchers, as you very well know. Less forage availability means more potential for land degradation. Emergency destocking and then restocking later on creates a loss of revenue in many cases. And so this producer was looking for breeds or a combination of breeds that have drought-resistant characteristics, but that would also still produce calves that fit market standards and that this producer could actually sell and make money off of. So CCAST presents these case studies in two forms. There is a PDF quick overview of the project, which you're seeing pictured here, and there is an online story map that gives a little bit more details. And once again, we'll go and take a look at that. So when you land on the CCAST page, this is what you'll see, this greeting page with some information, if you scroll down, about the collaboration and their purpose and mission. But if you go up here to the top right and just click on this little tab, you can jump straight to the case studies. And then the case studies can be explored a few different ways. You can use the case study dashboard, which is a graphical interface. It's pretty nifty, but I find it to be a little bit busy. And so I prefer exploring the case studies just using tags. And so when that page comes up, you can see that there are in total 110 case studies in this database. And you can just come down here and filter it by any tags that look interesting to you. So let's choose drought. And now we can see that there's 26 case studies that have the keyword drought somewhere in them. And if we want to filter it a little bit more, you can filter by things like grassland, by grazing. There's also a category down here called working lands. And all three of those should give you some rangeland or ranch type case studies. But let's go ahead and filter by grazing and by drought. And now we can see there are 5 case studies that match that definition. And here is our heritage genetics case study. So if we click on that, it will take us to the story map. And all of the case studies have these tabs, though the introduction is just giving you some background about the case study. On the map here, you'll see the location. So this case study was actually completed in cooperation with a rancher in Southern California, San Diego County. The key issues and goals is exactly what it sounds like, sort of what was the goal of the project. Project highlights, some interesting fun facts about the project, maybe some things that were a little bit unique about it. The lessons learned is going to be a really valuable tab for anyone looking to replicate any of this kind of stuff, because here is where the contributor shares what they tried, what worked, and sometimes what didn't work. And so this is going to be really helpful. Next steps, if there's any next steps planned, sometimes there are and sometimes there aren't. And then the resources is another really helpful tab. Here you'll find any supporting information. In this case, this contributor had also done a video interview about his ranch and about his approach. And so that's linked here. You can also find any other supporting information that was used in producing the case study. And if it turns out that you do find this case study interesting, but maybe you have a few more questions, something that wasn't included in the case study but might be vital for you, you can contact the contributor, and their information is here. And that way you can follow up with that person and ask them whatever question you have that you might need to know before you would maybe attempt something similar to this. So that is CCAST. I will say there is not a nice tidy URL for this one. This is the URL. Again, I'll drop that link in the chat box. But if you're just searching for it, it might be easier to just type in the name of the website and see what comes up in your search engine. It should come up if you type in this whole collaborative conservation and adaptation strategy toolbox. And with that, that's all I have. I'd like to thank all the partners and funding agencies that make all of this possible. The Sustainable Southwest Beef Project is funded by the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. It's a 5-year coordinated agriculture project aimed at supporting the economic and ecologic sustainability of ranchers and cattle operations and rangelands in the Southwest.